Improving your upwind sailing will probably make a bigger difference to your results than improving any other skill. So this video is just going to run over how do you set up correctly for sailing upwind and how do you cope with wind changes. So some of this may be a bit basic, but we'll go on to slightly more advanced stuff as the video progresses. So we can't sail straight into the wind. We've got this no-go zone angle here, the angles at which we wouldn't make any progress going into the wind. So we'd have to zigzag on either side of a no-go zone to make progress upwind. The further away from the wind you point, generally the faster you go. And obviously, if you're pointing really close to the wind, you're not going to be going very fast at all. But if we want to get up here, sailing on a reach isn't going to get us up there. So we need to find that angle, which is called a close hauled angle, which is the point where we can make good progress into the wind where we want to go without losing too much speed. And that's called VMG, velocity made good. And that's what I refer to as the Goldilocks zone. It's the perfect angle between speed and height. So once we've got sailing a close hauled angle, we now want to optimize our boat speed. And we do that by sail positioning, putting the sail in the right place, putting the centreboard or daggerboard in the right position, and keeping the boat flat. So first, sail position. We don't want our sail out because otherwise it won't be doing anything. We want our sail in pretty far. If we're in a double-handed boat, we probably want the sail as far in as it will go, so the main sheet hauled all the way in. If we're on a single-hander, we'll probably have it a bit further out to the corner on the back of the transom. Generally, with a centreboard, you want it pushed all the way down, and you'll want to keep the boat flat. So what I mean by that is the hull should be at a flat angle. You shouldn't be heeling towards the sail. Okay, so now we've got our perfect sailing angle and we've got the right sail position, board position, and we're keeping the boat flat. Now, unfortunately, sailing isn't that easy. We've got wind changes to battle with. So the wind can change in two different ways. The wind can go stronger, it can get lighter, so it can change in strength, that's one way. And it can also change in direction. So the wind doesn't stay as a constant, it shifts all around, sometimes a little bit and sometimes a lot. So as a sailor, it's super important to recognise when the wind has shifted or it's got stronger or lighter and then react to it. So how can we recognise if the wind has got stronger? Well, the biggest clue is you'll be heeling over, so your boat will no longer be flat. You'll be struggling to keep the boat flat. So if it goes too much, you're going to capsize. But there is a medium point when you're not flat and you're not quite capsized. So that's what you want to avoid. That's not good. So how do you recognise if the wind has shifted? So there are 3 clues for this. You can have a look at your burgee, which is a flag on the top of your mast. Hopefully you've got one. You've got the telltales. Now, they should be streaming backwards all the time, so horizontally. If they're not, then that probably means you're either pointing too close to the wind or not close enough. And the 3rd clue is the front of your sail. So if you're in a single-hander, the front of your mainsail. If you're in a double-hander, the front of your jib. If you go too close to the wind, that area will start fluttering around and it won't feel very fast. And that's a clue that you need to bear away. So if the wind direction changes, then your no-go zone and your close haul sailing angles are also going to shift with the wind. So if you're sailing a close haul angle and the wind shifts, you're going to need to react by either bearing away if the wind shifts this way, or if the wind shifts this way, you'll be able to go closer to the wind and so get to where you want to go quicker. So a simple way to make sure you're always on a close haul course is to keep nudging the boat slightly closer to the wind and just bear away just before that point when you know the sail is going to flap. So the last thing we need to cover is how to react to wind strength changes. So if you're struggling to keep the boat flat, then you've actually got too much power. You want to get rid of the power so you can actually sail more optimally. So too much power is not always a good thing. So we need some ways to depower the boat. So the obvious one is to let the main sheet go. Obviously, we don't want to let it go all the way out because we'll completely slow down then. But if we let it out a bit, we'll slow down because there'll be less power in the sail. The other big depowering control on most boats will be the kicker. So that, if you pull it on, will flatten the sail, and a flat sail actually has less power in it, and so the kicker is a depowering control. So if you are feeling overpowered, you can't keep the boat flat using your weight alone, that's an indication you either need to, well, you want to let the main sail go a bit and pull on some kicker until you can then keep the boat flat. Once you can keep the boat flat, you don't want to depower anymore because you've got enough power. You don't want to not have any power at all. And conversely, if the wind goes lighter again and you've got your kicker on and you've got your main sail out, you'll want to pull your main sail back in and let the kicker back off because you want maximum power when the wind is light. So that's basically all there is to it. You just need to set up at the right sailing angle and you need to have the sail in the right position, have the board down and keep the boat flat. And wind strength changes and wind direction changes will mean you're going to have to constantly adjust to keep that Goldilocks zone. So hopefully that helps. Let me know if you have any questions.